Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talking About Balls. I am Justin George, flying the ship solo tonight. Kyle is at bowling. I think it's pretty much going to be an every other week thing. I'm accepting that. Not accepting, I mean, I understand that now. I knew he was going to be in a bowling league and it was going to be kind of sporadic, but it feels like it's been consistent with every other week, which is fine. That works. It's better to know and have a game plan going forward. As of right now, today, I will say no guests scheduled. I'll be honest, had the Guardians won today, spoiler alert, for those that don't know, if you don't know, I don't know what the fuck you're watching this for. If the Guardians would have won today, I might have had Greg on to talk about it because they'd be up with a 2-1 lead over Detroit, but they fucking blew it. I'll get into that eventually. They are down 2-1 now. They're losing the series. Game 4 is tomorrow with the chance for Detroit to wrap up our season. If the Guardians win, they're going to a Game 5 in Cleveland on Saturday where Tarek Skubal will take the bump, who is the best pitcher in baseball and who shut them the fuck down on Monday, which, if I'm being honest, doesn't seem like that great of an accomplishment anymore because they got shut out again today. They haven't scored a run in 20 innings, 20 plus innings, because they've done 2 games. So that's 18. And then I forgot what the last inning they scored in on Saturday was. So they have now officially not scored in over 20 innings. And that's pretty fucking embarrassing. I apologize if I look at my phone a few times. I am I got a new Apple Watch today. And I just opened it out of the box. As you can see there, it's trying to pair. I literally just opened it up 25 minutes ago. So I'm trying to get that situated. Not the best timing. I understand that on my own fault, my own part here. But with that being said, we're going to get the episode going. I did buy that watch. I'm happy. I haven't done anything the last week. Really, I've been preparing for this weekend. This weekend should be a fun one. I have that concert on Friday, going to see the band Many Eyes that I like. The ex-lead singer of Every Time I Die. They are disgruntled. They broke up. They were one of my favorite bands of all time. They're done for now, at least. You never say never. I mean, I'm a diehard. Blink-182 is my favorite band of all time, and we all know what happened there. Tom DeLonge left. It seemed like they would never get back together. They hated each other, and then boom, now they're all best friends again. So never say never, especially when 2 of the bandmates are brothers, I guess. But who knows? All right, I'm just going to get this episode shared on social media. I am live with the only thing left to do now. Thank you for watching, my classic line. Thank you for watching. Copy that. And we're going to go live. Hope you guys like that intro. Shout out to Dave. He is a friend of show who I am actually going to the Many Eyes concert with on Friday night. He created that horror intro for us. He did the previous one that we used to run at Redline. He decided he'd tweak it a little bit and make a new one for us for this year for Halloween. And this is the October special, maybe the new intro forever. Who knows? Depends on what kind of votes we get from the fans. I love it personally. You guys know me. I know it's completely irrelevant with sports. It has nothing to do with sports, and we are technically a sports show, but we do BS. We shoot the shit. We do talk about life. We talk about movies. We talk about everything. So I think the horror is just cool for me because I'm a diehard horror fan. I know Kyle watched the movie Terrifier the other day. At least he said he was going to. He was asking me to pick a movie. He said, Jess and I are watching a movie tonight, a horror movie, and it's between Terrifier and Longlegs, the Nicolas Cage movie. And I told him I was honest. I said they're 2 very, very different movies. I said it depends on what you're into. Terrifier, you're getting an hour and a half of just nonsensical gore, but in the best way possible. If you watch Longlegs, you're watching a psychological thriller where you're kind of having some what the fuck moments of like, what the fuck did I just watch? But in a decent way, not a bad thing. So, oh shit, did I fuck that up? No, I didn't. Okay. I told him to go with Terrifier. I said, it's Halloween. They're coming out with a 3rd one in a few weeks. I'm like, you're behind schedule if you want to watch the Terrifier movie. If you've never seen it before, watch it now. So I believe they watched the Terrifier movie. But again, don't quote me. And again, apologies for looking at my phone. I'm just sharing it. So let me share the episode all over Facebook. That's what I do. You got to blast it. I need to hire an intern to do this. That would be fantastic. But until that day comes, DIY. We do it ourselves. And I'm okay with that. I like doing things individually. It feels good. If you want things done right, you do it yourself. Isn't that the saying everybody says? Yeah, so last weekend, not a whole lot after the show ended. Did my usual routine. Thursday night, hung out with the baby. Friday night, my wife apparently is a social butterfly, so she had a girls' night on Friday night, then a girls' night on Saturday, and then went out on Sunday night with her mom. They went and did some charity walk. And so, yeah, I've just been sitting at home being a stay-at-home dad, basically, for the last week, which is okay. I mean, beats the alternative. Could be out wasting money and doing stupid shit. Instead, I'm just sitting at home watching TV with the baby. Not bad. So Friday night, yeah, she went to a friend's house, whatever. I just hung out at home with Teddy. And then Saturday, we cleaned out the garage. Very exciting stuff to talk about. Obviously, I'm sure you guys are all very thrilled to hear about cleaning my garage, but we got a lot done. It was a mess. Moving is a pain in the dick when you get a house that's twice the size of your previous house. You have to fill it, and you have to then organize shit, go through everything, which takes time. Got it done. So garage is basically ready to be Halloweened, if you will, because we just need to set up our decorations and shit like that. One of the biggest things taking up space in our garage is that gigantic pumpkin man that I had to go pick up. Speaking of pumpkins and horror and shit like that, even though it kind of has nothing to do with this episode, is brought to you unofficially by Liquid Death, which is what I had right now. I wish I literally was drinking Liquid Death because Cleveland sports is in shambles, and if this was full of bleach, I probably wouldn't stop drinking it. It's a sad time to be a Cleveland fan. I bought the variety pack, and one of the flavors is melon. And if you know me, I do not like melon flavored things. This one's called Convicted Melon. So it's a watermelon flavored drink. The variety pack came with mango. I think it was called like mango chainsaw or something like that. I don't know why they call it that. It comes with a cherry flavor, which I don't remember what it's called because they have like catchy little names with everything. Like Convicted Melon, and then they have a lime flavor that came in the variety pack. You got 3 cans of each. If I'm being honest, the lime is fucking delicious, as is the cherry. The mango is the main reason I bought the variety pack, and I'm not gonna lie, the mango was kind of a letdown. It was good, but a little bit of a letdown. And then, of course, it came with a melon, and I was just kind of stuck with it. But it's not terrible. That's honestly all I got. I did fucking nothing. We cleaned out the garage. I watched the Guardians game on Saturday. Of course, better times. Sunday rolled around. I woke up. I watched football immediately. Kind of great to wake up and, there's a Sunday morning game in England. Even better when you get to watch the Jets lose. Spoiler alert. Then we got to the Browns, which was atrocious from top to bottom, and we're going to get into that. And then the rest of the day was okay. There was a long, 2-hour weather delay for the Sunday night game, which was Pittsburgh at Dallas, or Dallas at Pittsburgh, I'm sorry. And I'm not going to lie, I only made it till halftime. I was pretty tired. I went to bed, woke up to them losing, which was to the sight of Pittsburgh losing the game, which was awesome. A great little cherry on top for the week. So, with that being said, this one's a 42. Sorry, looking at my old Apple Watch that died. It won't turn on anymore no matter what I do. It was the 42 millimeter. I bought a new one today. It is the 44 millimeter. So I'm just making sure that my band is compatible, like any of you give a fuck. Yeah, with that being said, we're going to get into it today. We have a pretty good show, a lot to talk about. Obviously, I'm going to break down the Guardians. I'm going to break down the Browns. I'm going to break down the rest of the NFL. And most importantly, I've always talked about this with you guys. I've always talked about how there are ways to watch football. And there are things that I'm not trying to claim I don't do anything sports related for a living. I watch it. I'm a fan. I'm obsessed. Most of you could probably tell. I feel like I see things a little differently. And there's a new epidemic going on where people will just take screenshot pictures or they'll take a play, and because they have no idea how defensive coverages work, they have no idea, first off, how the offense is structured. It's easy to watch a play and say this guy's open when you have no idea what the design route was. So there's times in NFL games, even the best quarterbacks in the world, it happens to. You'll see Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, etc. You'll see these guys, maybe they throw a ball and it's nowhere near a player, and you're watching it going, who the fuck was he throwing to? And that's more than likely, I would say 9 times out of 10, maybe 10 times out of 10, the receiver ran the wrong route. So you'll see a quarterback throw the ball to nobody, or a guy's running and he hooks right and the ball goes 10 feet or 20 feet past him because the quarterback thinks he's running a different route. Those things happen all the time. There are constant misconceptions. So, not yet, George. A little early. We're not doing the film breakdown yet. I appreciate it. I'm prefacing everything right now. So what'll happen is you'll see a play and you'll see a guy and you go, oh, he was wide open. Why didn't the quarterback throw it to him? When you're playing Madden, you see the field from an aerial view. When you're on the field, it's very different, especially when you're watching the film from the side. So if you're watching it from a side angle, which we see on TV, it's going left to right instead of straight and backwards like an NFL player sees, a quarterback could call hike, drop back in the pocket, and yes, oh shit, this guy's wide open. Are you looking at what's actually happening around the quarterback, though? Are his feet set? Is he finished with his drop back? If a play calls for a 5-step drop or a 3-step drop, is he done with his drop back? Is he comfortable enough to throw the ball? Where is the defensive end? Does he see pressure coming up the middle? Who knows if the guy has a hand up coming at him and he can even see that fucking player 30 yards away or whatever. So we're going to break all that down. There's one play in particular that we're going to talk about later in this episode that George popped up there. It was a 3rd and 10, and there are people breaking the film down that are going, everyone was wide open. Deshaun Watson's a bum. He can't see the field. This is a clear example. He should be, cut, benched, whatever. And I prefaced this when I tweeted it to people because I fell into my own trap of where I always tell everybody, I am not going to argue with stupid football fans. And I don't mean like stupid is like a play on words. I mean literally people that are too stupid to understand what they're saying. And that happened multiple times. And you'll see that when George plays that clip later. Because there's a play or a route that's being run by, I believe it's Amari Cooper, I think. I don't remember who it is off the top of my head. Maybe it's not. Whomever. There's a guy that's running up the seam, and he's basically running up the hash marks on the left side. And, well, technically, I guess it would be the right. I don't know. The top. And the guy in the video, at least one of the videos I saw, because this play made its rounds with multiple people trying to break the film down. There are 3 defenders surrounding this player. They're running a zone. I'll get more into it when we actually play it, but I'm prefacing. They said, and I quote, should have thrown it here. Would have been a tight throw, but you should have, he's open. It's a tight throw, but he's open, is what they said. We'll watch the tape and I'll explain to you how stupid that is. But anyway, the Browns did lose to the Washington Commanders in an embarrassing fashion. The game was never close. I'm not going to lie to you. I was completely just dejected from the start. So the Browns, I opened up the ESPN app and the Guardians are on the front page, of course, and it made me sick to my stomach to see that again. The game started off, the Browns go 3 and out or whatever, they punt, and that was it. I mean, the game was over as soon as Washington scored their first touchdown. When it was 7-0, I'm not going to lie, I looked and I went, oh, fuck, we're in for a long day. The final score ended up being 34-13. Truthfully, that game was so fucking bad, I didn't even remember the score. You guys know me, I'm pretty good with like remembering everything, and that score left my memory. That's how ugly that game was. They lose 34-13. Terrible, never stood a chance. It was never even close. Even early in the game, a 7-point lead. For me, knowing how bad this offense has been, I go, this game's pretty much out of reach. So they looked terrible, top to bottom. The defense, JOK was really the only guy that showed up. Then he had some pretty embarrassing moments. And what he did was he over-pursued Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels fucking just juked everybody out of their shoes. This kid looks good. I'll eat my own words. I have egg on my face. I said I didn't think he'd be very good in the pros. Obviously, it's early in his career. Things can change. We've seen a Washington quarterback come in and look really good his rookie season and then get an injury, and then you're done. That's the issue with running quarterbacks, mobile quarterbacks. I personally don't like them. Salutations from Brewgarden, Strongsville. Steve, yeah, dude, they go all out for Halloween. Brew Garden in Strongsville, Post and Beam, I think they're called. Whatever the one is that's on Snow and Chevy in Brook Park. It's either Post and Beam or Thirst and 10. There are two bars in the Brook Park area that are both blank and blank. Post and Beam, Thirst and 10. I don't remember which one's which. I always get them confused. One is on Sheldon Road off of Smith. The other one is on Snow and Chevy. And the one that's on Snow and Chevy goes all out. They put like a huge fucking spider on the outside of the building. The inside, it just has decorations everywhere. It's fucking awesome. So yeah, shout out to Steve. He is at Post and Beam Decorates. Okay, that's it. I always get the names confused. Steve's at Brew Garden drinking away his sorrows because the Guardians were an embarrassment today. And again, I will get to that. When I set up the production for this episode, I sent the rundown to George and I put on there specifically because of how bad the Browns were. I said, we're going to open up with the Guardians, in parentheses, if they win. Because I was fairly confident, I'm not going to lie to you. So they did lose on Monday to Tarek Skubal. And I thought, well, today is a bullpen game for Detroit. Guardians are a good team. They were at one point, they were a game out of being the number one seed in the American League. So I thought they're going to win. I'm fairly confident. Didn't guarantee it, but I said if they win, that's what we're going with. Spoiler alert: they did not win. So shout out to Steve. Steve and I were talking a little bit during the game. Both very frustrated with that performance today. The season's not over. It definitely feels like the back's against the wall and things are looking grim. But I'll talk more about that game later. So, again, back to the Browns game. Terrible on all levels. They could not stop Jaden Daniels. He looks like the real deal. Defensively, Washington's defense is very bad, and the Browns' offense could do nothing. Same old. It's every week at this point. It's fucking repetitive. It feels like I'm doing the same show every week. We're playing what I would consider a lesser opponent. When you look at the Browns roster top to bottom, when you look at the Browns roster from last year, this is a team that had high expectations. The Commanders were a team. Devin, I'm not going to lie to you, man. Tara showed me the Mega Buzzball text you sent her the other day for the Guardians, and I have a couple Buzzballs chilling in my fridge. I keep a few on hand. And I was all excited. I'm like, okay, Guardians are going to win today. I'm going to go on the show and I'm going to fucking do a buzzball for the Guardians because they deserve it. They earned it. No, they didn't. Now I just have a bunch of buzzballs with, I don't even know if they have expiration dates on them, but half of them have got to be ready to get thrown out at this point because I bought them weeks ago and the Browns have only won one game. Preseason, I thought, shit, Dallas is going to be a tough game, but the Browns should be able to at least be competitive and maybe win it because they're at home. That was embarrassing. No chance. Then they beat Jacksonville. Okay, turning shit around. Let's crack a buzzball. Week 3, the Giants. Fuck. Easy W. More buzzballs for everybody. Then, goddamn, the Raiders. More buzzballs. No. Now they're just collecting dust. They're sitting in my fridge. They're probably going to have weird things floating in them. I don't know what kind of chemicals they put in a buzzball. I can't imagine it's actually... In like 10 years, there's going to be some weird Camp Lejeune lawsuit that they're going to be like, 10 years ago, did you drink a buzzball? If so, please call our law firm at whatever. I don't know what to say. Cleveland sports, it's fucking embarrassing. Top to bottom. The worst part is, in my opinion, this is just me. I've always said it. You guys all know this. I hate losing more than I like winning. If, the Guardians won on Saturday, I was like, okay, cool. One down, move down with my day. The Guardians lost on Monday, ruined my fucking night. Browns lost on Sunday, ruined my fucking day. Today, the Guardians lost. I'm not going to lie, I was close to messaging George and just saying, you know what? Show's canceled. I'm so fucking pissed off at Cleveland sports. I'm not even doing a show today. I don't even want to talk about it. It's too fresh. And, hey, what's up, Adam? They probably do curl. I'm not going to lie, I've had a couple chunky-ish Irish car bombs. Terrible, but Mama didn't raise no bitch. I still drink them. But yeah, no, honest to God, though, Cleveland sports is fucking depressing, and I don't even know where to begin. Everything, there's so many things wrong with everything. You can't pinpoint one thing. Of course, everybody and their brother just goes, it's Deshaun Watson, bench Deshaun Watson. He's the reason we're losing. And then again, that's why we're going to break down that film a little bit later, because I want to show you, I prefaced it when I talked to people on social media, and I said, I am by no means defending Deshaun Watson here. He has played terribly, but let me explain to you why this breakdown is moronic and why you don't understand football. That's basically how I worded it to people. And then I would explain that, and then the people would reply with, oh, well, he did this on another play. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm not talking about another play. I'm talking about this play specifically and why this film breakdown is shit. And then people would get all flustered and they'd get all mad and they'd start just trying to talk shit about Deshaun Watson. And it's like, that's fine. I get it. You're mad. You're frustrated. Everybody is. But I'm not defending the guy. I'm explaining why this fucking film breakdown is stupid and why fans that watch a guy on Twitter post a film clip breakdown and tries to explain football and then they see it and they go, oh, fuck. This is it. This is all the evidence you need. Why aren't they benching him? Why isn't this happening? They're just stupid. Browns fans can be really stupid at times. And again, they're frustrated. They're mad. I totally fucking get it. Totally understood. It is miserable to be a Browns fan right now. As of today, it's miserable to be a Cleveland fan in general. Everything sucks. Everything's awful. Adam, yeah, dude, it's looking like it, honestly. It's bananas to me that we went from a playoff team and what they win 11 games last year. They went from a playoff team. I get it. Joe Flacco came in. They had PJ Walker. They had DTR played a few games. We had 5 quarterbacks technically last year that played, but they were a playoff team. One of the best defenses in football. Boom, running it back. Let's go. Let's win some games. Let's be a good team. Vegas had us at like 8.5 wins or something like that, which is their way of basically saying this season could go north or south. They weren't super confident, but they also weren't very down on us. And then after the first couple of games, their odds of over-under wins went down to like 4.5. Like Vegas no longer thinks we can win 5 games. And to be honest, watching them play, I completely agree and understand why they did that. They're terrible. The Cleveland Browns are one of the worst teams in football. This is one of the worst teams I've ever seen. Truthfully, like it's hard to watch this. And again, it starts from top to bottom. I know Kevin Stefanski comes out like a robot when he does his press conferences, and that's fine. That's what you get in today's NFL. Dan Campbell, of course, is the guy that's out there giving good catchphrases and quotes and shit like that. However, he tends to make huge mistakes that cost his team games. No, Adam, at all. This is not it at all. We thought the defense is going to be the crutch for the team. They're going to get a ton of turnovers. They're going to shut teams down. And then the offense is going to figure some shit out. And yeah, I talked about it a little bit last week from what I've heard from reporters. Obviously, losing Alex Van Pelt and Bill Callahan is a much bigger deal than anyone anticipated. And the Bill Callahan factor mostly because he was not only a no-nonsense, straight-to-the-point. No, Greg Williams could fuck off. Greg Williams is terrible, and you missed a couple G's there. I think he's got like 2 or 3 of them in his name. Greg Williams sucks. I'll take Jim Schwartz 1,000 times out of 1,000 over Greg Williams. But Bill Callahan held everybody accountable. Bill Callahan would go up to DeJuan Jones or make sure DeJuan Jones was staying in shape and make sure everybody was doing their jobs. Instead, we get Andy Dickerson from the Seahawks, who I'm not here to knock the guy. I don't know him. Could be a really nice guy, but as of right now, he sucks at his job. He cannot get the offensive line in sync. They don't know who the fuck they're blocking. That's a scheme issue. That's where Ken Dorsey's offense comes into play. This new offense that came over in the beginning when they hired him, I thought, great. He worked with Cam Newton. He worked with Josh Allen. He helped turn their careers around a little bit, made them both really good players. They both have had MVP-like seasons. I thought, great, bring him in. Little did I know, he has no fucking idea what he's doing. And I know it's easy to say that now, because again, at the time I was excited. I'm like, shit, we got Ken Dorsey. That's awesome. This guy's been around for a while. He knows what he's doing. And then now I'm seeing this offense in action. And it's more so he is a guy who he's not giving his offense what they need. He's giving them what he wants. He's forcing them to run his offense. And clearly no one's comfortable. Clearly it has nothing to do with, clearly it is not working. No one knows what the fuck they're doing. The offensive line, yeah, they look like a turnstile. Everyone's getting around. DeJuan Jones looks out of shape, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt as well. He's hurt. He has a bad knee. He had knee surgery. I don't think he's fully ready to play. He's out there trying every week because we're down to nobody on the offensive line. We're in shambles. Jack Conklin, what the fuck? Who knows if that guy's ever going to play again? Jed Wills did, decently, I guess you could say, against Washington. Ethan Posick got hurt again. We've got all these injuries, and guys just don't know what the fuck they're doing. This is where a good offensive coordinator would be like, okay, or, I'll even, for the first time in my life, I'm going to blame a little bit of Kevin Stefanski. You have all these injuries, but then again, I take that back. Hard to blame Kevin Stefanski. In a situation like this where your offensive line's really banged up, this is where you would call really easy plays, maybe some screen plays, maybe some run plays to take the pressure off your offense a little bit. We can't run the ball. Our running backs are terrible. The Guardians offense, this is embarrassing. I mean, I love Jose Ramirez, but dude, where the fuck are you? Like, honestly, the dude disappears. He's disappearing in the playoffs for us. He had the one hit on Saturday and then has been a ghost. Today, I know it didn't affect anything, technically. It didn't matter. But Josh Naylor, what the fuck, dude? Literally skipping balls into the outfield. Like, this defense is supposed to be the glue. We are a fundamentally sound team. That's how we win. We're going to get a base hit here, a base hit there. We're going to play good defense. That's the way to win. That's how this Guardians team has been constructed. Now they're not hitting. Their defense is kind of funky. In game one, it didn't matter, but there was the botched play in the outfield where I think it was Lane Thomas or maybe it was Will Brennan. I don't remember who the center fielder was. Went over to a fly ball. I get it. There was sun, but it's a day baseball game. There's going to be sun. Lost the ball in the sun. Thank God it wasn't crucial. Thank God we had a big lead. Just shitty little things like that. But back to the Browns. So embarrassing all around. Again, everyone wants to blame one person. Everyone just goes, it's Deshaun Watson's fault. Jameis Winston would save everything. That's not the case. We need a run game. Our offense is one-dimensional. We are currently running a pistol formation. We're not running the ball hardly at all because this offense isn't meant to do that. And I talked about that last year when we hired Ken Dorsey. I warned Browns fans. I said, just be prepared for Nick Chubb or whoever our running back is. At the time I didn't know when Nick Chubb would be back, but I said, do not be surprised if Nick Chubb is hardly used because this is going to be a pass-heavy offense. I thought this offense would resemble the offense that was in Buffalo. Buffalo was a pass-heavy, don't run the ball kind of team. I thought they would combine that kind of with what Houston did with Deshaun Watson when Deshaun Watson was in his prime. It would be a pass-heavy, deep. We're fucking chucking it all over the field. Instead, we're running these very slow, very long, deliberate routes for our wide receivers, who, by the way, shout out to Triple G, Guardian Guy Greg. He loves facts and figures and numbers and statistics, and Greg came to me with a stat the other day, and Greg told me that the Browns wide receivers have the slowest sprint speed in the NFL off the line of scrimmage, and they are the second worst at getting separation in the NFL. And then on top of all that, they lead the league in drops, and our offensive line leads the league in pressures to the quarterback. So that is a just collaborative effort of shit. You have wide receivers that can't get open. You have wide receivers that can't run past anybody. They can't get separation. They can't catch. And they're running very slow, long developing plays. And the offensive line is trash, so we don't have time to let these plays develop. And again, I'm not here to defend Deshaun Watson. I know everybody wants him gone. And at this point, I am right there with you. It is looking like a colossal failure of a trade. I will admit that. I'm not stubborn. I truly don't understand how Deshaun Watson was completely space jammed to no longer have any football talent. I don't get it. I, as a Browns fan, have seen some of the worst quarterbacks of all time. I have seen some of the worst offenses of all time. This is up there. This is up there with one of them. However, last year when Watson was in, was he shaky? Yes. Were we 5-1 and he was still making decent throws? Obviously, everyone and their brother goes to the second half of the Ravens game, and that's a great game. He played really well, and he looked okay. It looked like there's something to build on, especially, again, the Ravens game. But then he got hurt. Now he's back, and you think, okay, he figured some shit out. Let's roll. And it looks like the biggest regression step back that I've ever seen in my life, and it goes all over the field. Again, everybody looks terrible. David Njoku has played about 2 quarters this whole fucking season of football. Not his fault. Injuries happen. Joe Bitonio, Pro Bowler, Hall of Famer, looks like shit. Wyatt Teller, injured. He's on the IR. We have Zach Zinter starting at right guard. Ethan Posick, very, very solid center. He's missed a ton of time. He's in, he's out, he's in, he's out. Again, Jedrick Wills, who knows who's playing left tackle any given week. Right tackle, DeJuan Jones is playing out there. He looks out of shape. He looks slow. He looks unhealthy. It's like injury-wise, he looks like he's hurt. He does look unhealthy too, I guess. He looks hurt. And we have no answer for that because Jack Conklin, everyone hates Deshaun Watson. He's making all this money. He missed so much time. He was suspended. Now he's not playing well. Jack Conklin. How long has Jack Conklin been on the Browns? How many millions of dollars has Jack Conklin made to play, 13 games his whole career as a Cleveland Brown, I think? He missed all of last year, basically. He got hurt in game 1. This year, okay, he's recovering from a major knee injury. He should be ready about week 1. It takes about a year to get ready. Nope. Not Jack Conklin. He needs a couple more weeks. All right, he's back at practice. Let's go. Oh, hamstring injury. Here we are, going into fucking week 6. Jack Conklin has not played a single snap. He has now missed well over a 13 months of football, and he's getting paid every red cent of his contract. But go ahead. Hate on Deshaun Watson all you want. That's fine. He's not playing well. He's at least on the field. He's taking a fucking beating every week. He is still trying. I think, honest to God, I bet he did not want to come out of the game on Sunday, I'm sure, against Washington, even though the game was fucking over. Again, I'm not defending him. I just feel bad for the guy. He definitely looks like all these allegations and things fucked with his head. He is not the same person. He doesn't have it anymore, it looks like. Who knows? Maybe this week he finds it. I'm not holding my breath, though. I think he's washed. Then you have fans that are just shitting on him mercilessly, making things up. For instance, there was the play on Sunday where the Browns call a timeout. It's 4th down. They're going to go for it. Red zone. They're at the goal line. 4th and goal. They're going for it. What happens? Deshaun goes to the huddle. Like a good quarterback, you count how many men are in the huddle, and he goes, oh, fuck, there are 11 men in the huddle, not including myself. If I step in that huddle, we're going to get a penalty. So he had to walk off the field and tell Stefanski, hey, we're missing somebody. What happened? Of course, he fucking gets ridiculed by everybody that he quit. He walked off the field. Stefanski's pissed. Everyone's saying, look at how mad Stefanski is. He fucking hates him. He's, this and that. And what happens? Right after the game, everyone goes, oh shit, there were 12 men in the huddle. And then I've told people that have said that. I still have people that go, that fucking guy quit on his team. He walked off the field, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, he didn't. There were 12 men in the huddle. He had to do that. You can't call 2 timeouts in a row. It's a penalty. So he walked off the field because there was nothing they could do. Well, still, what do you mean still? What you're trying to claim and what you're trying to shit on him for is false. Still. That's what I got. That's literally what I heard from people. Still. Okay. Francisco Lindor just hit a grand slam for the New York Mets. They are up 4-1 in the bottom of the 5th, I think that says, or 6th. I got it on a very tiny screen on my phone. That's annoying, though. I fucking hate the Mets. It's the bottom of the 6th. Yeah. So the Mets can score, apparently. Well, Francisco Lindor can score at least. Guardians, on the other hand. So everyone's shitting on Watson, and again, rightfully so, but there are so many things wrong with this team, top to bottom. The defenses look terrible. I love Myles Garrett. Love the guy. But I'm starting to get a little frustrated with him, if I'm being honest. I know he's playing hurt. I'll give him the kudos. You're playing with an injury. So is everybody. And I hate to say it, I love Myles Garrett. Couldn't be happier that he won Defensive Player of the Year. He is a game wrecker. However, I'm watching other teams. I watch as much football as possible. I'm watching TJ Watt all the time. Steelers games are constantly on. TJ Watt is wrecking games. TJ Watt is constantly wrecking games. He's recovering fumbles. He's doing what he can. Myles Garrett doesn't really do that. Myles Garrett's good for maybe a sack or 2 a game. Maybe one's a strip sack. That's about it. Doesn't really get many tackles. Doesn't really shut plays down. I know it. He's doing his job by getting a double team and blah, blah, blah. I understand that. But when nobody else is stepping up and filling that gap and taking advantage of what Miles is doing, then it just makes Miles look like he's not doing anything. Look at what happened in the Houston game. Everybody's knock was, where the fuck was Miles in that game? They were double teaming and triple teaming him. I get it. That sucks. Only so much you can do. You got to overcome it. You know, I know they're not doing it as much to TJ Watt, but he still gets double teamed and chipped every once in a while, still finds ways to make plays. Mason Crosby, you think he's not getting double teamed or triple teamed? Still finds ways to make plays. Micah Parsons, double teamed, triple teamed, still finds ways to make plays. I need more out of Myles Garrett. It's too little, too late. I know I'm wasting my breath at this point. At 1-4, the season is fucking over. I'm not stupid. I still see dumbass Browns fans that are like, hey, the Browns say Nick Chubb might come back against the Bengals. Okay, so we're going to be 1-5. You really think Nick Chubb's going to make a fuck of a difference? Like, at this point, the team literally needs to go on like a 6 or 7 game winning streak in order to even keep their season afloat. There's no other way around it. The Ravens found their fucking stride. The Ravens are winning games. The Ravens are gonna. Who knows when the Ravens are gonna fucking lose again? They figured shit out. They got Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry looks like his old self again. Obviously, anything can happen, injury, shit like that. But they look unstoppable. Steelers look like they came back down to reality. The Bengals, one of the best offenses in football, no question about it. The Browns defense has no fucking chance against them. There's no way, because the issue is, no matter how well we play against Cincinnati and Joe Burrow, if they score a couple touchdowns, which they're known to do, the Browns are going to fucking have no chance, because our offense can't score. We're the worst offense in football by a mile. We have the least amount of yardage per play. We have the lowest scoring in the NFL. It's not even close. Well, it's the NFL in October. LOL, we've seen crap teams go 7-0, 9-0 runs. Not often, George. Not often. It's only happened a handful of times, and I wouldn't say crap teams. I mean, I know the Bengals started 0-2 a few years ago, and then they went on to the Super Bowl, because they did. They went on like a 9-game winning streak or something like that, a 7-game winning streak. But they went to the Super Bowl, so they weren't a crap team. I think the Dolphins a year or two ago, they did the same thing. They started off pretty slow, then they went on this long run of like 9 games. Doesn't happen often, but it is doable for sure. But again, right now, the way I see the Browns, there's no fucking chance. How did they look so bad that there's any glimmer of hope that, yeah, they'll figure this out? They'll turn it around in 1 week. If anything, they got worse. They looked horrible against the Cowboys. Then they looked okay against the Jags. And then at times they looked okay against the Giants. And then Raiders, they looked okay. But still, okay is the same. They're not getting better. They plateaued. They looked okay. They look like a team that could maybe score a couple touchdowns. And even then, I forgot. Yes, Amari Cooper had that embarrassing drop. Yes, we had that touchdown returned. We only scored 10 offensive points that game. That's it. The other touchdown was from the defense. So 10 points. The Giants, one of the worst defenses in football. We let them basically shut us down at home. I think we scored, 15 points? We went for 2 or some shit. Yeah, 16, I think it was. Whatever. I don't even care. I'm trying to fucking forget the season already. We're 5 games in. The offense is terrible. There's no way I could even have the slightest bit of confidence that they're going to figure out, especially against Philly. Philly hasn't played well at all, but they've had a lot of injuries. They were without A.J. Brown. They were without Devontae Smith for multiple weeks. Those guys are back. They're coming off a bye week. They're fresh. They're rested. They're going up against the worst team in football, arguably, and they got a week to prepare for it, an extra week. There's no fucking chance. Spoiler alert, I'm not picking the fucking Browns again. I said this 2 weeks ago against Vegas. I'm not picking the Browns again until they give me a reason to think they can win a game, and nothing. I mean, if I were a serious betting man, which I'm not, I'm a little, nickel and dimer, if you will, I'm betting my fucking savings account on the Philadelphia Eagles money line. Hell, I would even take the points. I don't even know what the spread is. It's got to be huge. I'd have to imagine it's got to be like 7 or 8. But yeah, no way I'd ever bet on the Browns again. No way. All right. Well, I digress. It's horrible. I've said it before. They're not making any changes. I don't know. I did too, George. I did the same thing. I dropped the Browns defense for the Eagles defense in one of my fantasy leagues because that's just easy points right there. Yeah. So they did a press conference on post game or after the game the next day. They always do a Monday morning press conference with Kevin Stefanski, and he came out and they ask the same questions every week. It's basically, what are you going to do to fix the team? And he says, we all have to play better. That's everybody. That's me. That's Deshaun. I have to coach better. We all have to execute better. Blah blah blah. Same shit. Then someone asked him a couple interesting questions. One of them was, is it your decision to keep starting Deshaun Watson? Why aren't you benching him? And he basically said, you guys know we do everything collaboratively. It is me, it's Andrew, it's other people in the office, blah, blah, blah. Everybody works collectively. Ownership, him and Andrew Berry, it's everybody, which was a nice way of saying, no, it's not my final decision, which we all know that. If you're a Browns fan and you're still saying fire Stefanski because of this team or fire whoever, and you don't realize that Paul DePodesta is the one that calls the shots for this team, then you should maybe bite your tongue and never really talk about sports until you kind of get a grasp on that. Paul DePodesta runs the show. If you hate Deshaun Watson, that's completely fine and that's completely justified. Who brought him here? Paul DePodesta of the Moneyball fame, for those of you that don't know. If you hate the firing of Alex Van Pelt and letting Bill Callahan go, I get Bill Callahan went to go play with this or to go coach with his son. You're letting him do that. That's awesome. That's super nice. I'm not even holding that against them. But demanding that they fire Alex Van Pelt, who Kevin Stefanski really liked, to bring in Ken Dorsey, was not Kevin Stefanski's decision. That was Paul DePodesta. Then you can go on the flip side. Sure, if you want to blame Andrew Berry, which I'm starting to lose faith in Andrew Berry by the second. His cap management, fantastic. He can rework the cap. He's very smart. However, let's take a gander at some of the things he's done as a GM. He has found us Martin Emerson in the third round, I think it was. Decent player. He got us JOK in the second round. Really good linebacker. He got DeJuan Jones last year in the, third or fourth round, whatever the fuck. At the time, steal of the draft. Now, he looks like a day 3 draft pick. He's playing like shit. He made a trade for Amari Cooper. Looked really great for 2 years. Now Amari Cooper looks like a washed bum. He made a trade for Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy is struggling to get open. Not doing a whole lot. Okay, fair. It's early. He's only been in Cleveland for 5 games. I'm not holding that against him yet. But Andrew Berry has also drafted wide receivers. He's drafted Anthony Schwartz. He's drafted David Bell. Cedric Tillman. I'm sure I'm forgetting some. Jamari Thrash this year. Again, I'm sure I'm forgetting others. Countless defensive linemen, linebackers, defensive backs. His draft picks have stunk, frankly. JOK is the only decent one. Greg Newsome, first-round pick, looked good for a while, and then now, what the fuck? I don't know. Our secondary's trash. Again, we went back to being shit. He can't figure out what to do on the defensive line. You have Myles Garrett. You have, again, Defensive Player of the Year. And who does he get to play with? Old-ass Zadarius Smith. He's playing with Tomlinson. He's playing with Maurice Hurst sometimes when Maurice Hurst plays. The guys we have to complement Myles Garrett on the defensive line aren't cutting it. They're not good enough. Again, teams know they can double and triple team Myles Garrett, and they're not afraid of anybody else. What's happening? They're double teaming and triple teaming Myles Garrett, and they're not afraid of anybody else. And again, I said this a few weeks ago for whatever reason. We were running a ton of zone, soft cushion zone. When we're a man defense, our players have the talent and skill to play man. For some reason, Jim Schwartz said, we're going to try something different. So what you're doing in a zone is you need pressure. You need the pressure. So the quarterback has to make a quick panic decision and he doesn't get the chance to fully read the defense. When you don't get that pressure, guys can just find pockets in the zone. Quarterbacks eat you up. That's exactly what's happening to the Browns. Or, because we're playing against a lot of mobile quarterbacks, we like to have a guy spying on the QB. Then that guy blitzes the quarterback and takes a horrible route, which happened multiple times on Sunday. I'm not saying tackling Jaden Daniels one-on-one is an easy feat by any stretch of the imagination, but by God, did they look like they had no fucking chance. And all that does to me is go, fuck. We have to play Justin Fields twice. We have to play Lamar Jackson twice. If we have to play Jalen Hurts this week. You can't stop Jaden Daniels. You have no chance against these other guys. These other guys are better. They're pros. They're seasoned veterans. They're MVPs. No chance. MVP candidates, I should say. I don't think Jalen Hurts never won an MVP. I don't know. I just the future is bleak. The season is over. It's 1-4. You're done. This is so depressing to look that it's not even middle of October. It's October 9th today, and my football season's over. It's October 9th. We're 3 games into the playoffs for the Guardians, and their season's almost over. They're one loss away from their season being over. They are now in must-win, back against the wall baseball. When all season they teetered with being the 1 seed, they're going to fucking lose to their division rival, Detroit Tigers, who came out of nowhere. And I said it weeks ago. I said the last thing I want is to get that part of the bracket. I do not want to have to play the Tigers or the Astros. Whichever winner of that scared the shit out of me. What happened? We're playing the fucking Tigers, and the Tigers are one of the hottest teams in baseball. And in baseball, I've watched baseball for a long time. When you face that hot team, it doesn't end well for you. The Texas Rangers last year came into the playoffs as the hottest team in baseball. What did they do? They won the fucking World Series. So I'm pissed about the Guardians losing today. Don't get me wrong. Very questionable decisions, which I'll get to in a minute. But yeah, this episode sucks. Doing a show today sucks. Being a Cleveland sports fan sucks. Miserable. I hate sports. I hate everything about it. So here I am doing a sports show. All right. With that being said, back to what I was saying initially when I got sidetracked, because that happens with me. Kevin Stefanski was asked about benching Deshaun, and he said, no, basically. Then they said, what about play calling? Have you put any thought into letting Ken Dorsey call plays? And he said, that's something we've discussed. We're looking into it. So when I heard that on Monday, no bullshit, I thought come Wednesday, today, he holds another press conference. I go, shit, he's going to announce it. He's going to say Ken Dorsey is calling plays on Sunday. I was like, let's see what he can do. First question of the press conference, Kevin, have you put any more thought into who's going to be calling plays? Yeah, well, we sat around, we talked about it. We feel like we like the direction everything's going and how everything's going, sticking to the status quo. Okay. So there's no changes happening. We are going to be running Ken Dorsey's shitty offense with Kevin Stefanski trying to call them. And there's a lot of Browns fans out there. I got into a little discussion with Dave of Redline Radio, who's trying to blame Stefanski, who goes, well, I said, Ken Dorsey, the offensive scheme we're running is terrible. And he goes, well, who's calling the plays? I said, yeah, it's Kevin Stefanski, but you can only call plays that are in that scheme. This isn't Madden where you go, you know what, none of these are working today. Let's try this. You have to stick with what's in your game plan. That's how football works. There's a misconception, again, with sports fans that it's Madden. It's not real life. It goes back to the viewing of the film where they just think that a quarterback can see the entire field, just like in a video game. Just like they think that Kevin Stefanski should just be drawing up plays in the fucking dirt, basically, instead of sticking to what he has on his game plan. That is a designed offense for Ken Dorsey's scheme. So a lot of misconceptions from what they said today. Nothing's changing. If anything, just more bad news. We lost. How the fuck do you lose your long snapper? The long snapper, it just went on the IR for the Cleveland Browns. Long snappers snap the ball for a punt. They snap the ball for a field goal or extra point. That's it. There are strict rules in the NFL. You're not allowed to touch those guys. All of a sudden, Charlie Hewlett leaves the game. They say rib injury. He's out. This was on Sunday. They asked him today. They said, Kevin, how does your long snapper get hurt? And he goes, yeah, that was friendly fire. So things are going so poorly for the Cleveland Browns that a member of the Cleveland Browns got hurt because of a member of the Cleveland Browns and is now on the IR for God knows how long. Might be broken ribs. Who the fuck knows? A couple people came back to practice today. Mohamed Diabate, he came back to practice. Maurice Hurst came back to practice coming off the IR. Michael Hall Jr. is back to practice after being on the suspension for 5 games because of the domestic issues that he had. He is eligible to play. They asked Kevin today, is he going to play? And he said, we'll see. We got to see how he gets through a week of practice. But, I mean, by the looks of things, he was out there practicing today. I would be shocked if he doesn't play. It wouldn't make sense to me to not play him at this point in the season. What do you have to lose? But who knows? But anyway, with that being said, I'm ready to get down to the film. I'm ready to get down to this one specific play. And we're going to show it here. This was, again, really quickly, I want to preface this. You can see the line up there in the top. If you're looking, I'm gonna go full screen here so I can break this down a little bit better. So I apologize if anyone has any comments. So if you look up at the top at about the 38-yard line, that's the first down, okay? It is 3rd and 10. We have the ball at the 28. We need to get to the 38, as you can see from that mouse there, or that hand. So, George, if you could hit play, we'll let the play go through here. I'll let everybody see it. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that everyone gets highlighted from the video, so we'll just go ahead and let it run. All right. So you're going to watch this play here. Okay. Now, if you could pause it there, George, for me. All right. You see everybody circled. This is where the guy said, everyone is wide open. Now, first, don't look at Deshaun. We'll get to him in a second. Okay. I want to break down to you guys how defensive schemes work really quickly in the most layman terms possible. They are running a zone. They did a four-man rush, which is basic, just your standard four-man rush. They are running a zone because they know it is 3rd and 10. We're on our side of the field. They know that if we do not get a first down, we're not going for it on 4th down. It's a punting situation. They know that. So let's start in the beginning to show you how dumb Browns fans are. If you look right there at the 30-yard line, he is 2 yards away from our line of scrimmage. 2, which means if he catches the ball there, he needs to go 8 yards forward to get the first down. You see those guys in red there that are standing damn near directly on the 38-yard line, all 3 of them? Their job is to let those 2 receivers catch anything, and they are going to collapse and attack the ball to stop them short of a first down. Washington, Browns fans, are giving you those throws. They're begging Deshaun Watson to make that throw. He's not going to because he wants a first down. Throwing that ball there, 99% chance, do not get a first down. Yes, sure. They could break a tackle. Miracles could happen. Are you confident, any Browns fan out there, that those receivers could break a tackle and get a first down? I'm not. I've watched enough football this year from this team. You really think these guys are going to be able to do that? There's no chance. Hell, I'd be shocked if they actually caught the fucking ball. So that's the that's the starter right there. You have those 2 receivers who are not open at all. And before we rewind it a little bit, if you look up in the top right, you see those 2 wide receivers very, very close to each other. The number 1 rule in sports, typically, I don't know if someone ran a wrong route or who knows what actually happened, but it looks like that's Jordan. I think that's Jordan Akins at the 50, and that's Jerry Jeudy at the 45, and that's Amari Cooper on the 45 at the bottom. I believe that's Elijah Moore at the 30, and the 20 or the 38. Or the 34, I don't know who that is off the top of my head. I'd have to go back and look at the play. I don't remember. It might be our running back. I don't know if it's Foreman or Ford. I don't know. Irrelevant. But so if you look at the top right at the 50-yard line, you have Jordan Akins standing there. You also, if you pay attention, there are 1, 2, 3 Washington Commanders standing right on their logo. You have one at the top of the W, one in the middle, and then you have one at the top on the right. They are praying, again, that Deshaun Watson tries to squeeze a ball in there. And then we flip over to Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy over there at the 45. Same thing. They are praying that Deshaun tries to throw the ball through there because they have a defender right there by the 40 and right there at the W who are ready for a ball to come at them. They're playing a zone. They are trying to bait you into throwing the ball into traffic thinking there's an opening. That's the whole point of a zone. The plan or the job of the offensive player is to find the soft gap in the zone, which it looks like they did, sure, on paper. Or on a freeze frame, you go, oh shit, they're open. Okay, and then yes, at the bottom, I believe that is Amari Cooper, who does look open, but we'll rewind a little bit to explain why that throw was not made. So if you could rewind it a little bit, George, and go ahead and I'll tell you when to pause it. So basically, if you could do me a favor, George, what we're going to do is we're going to watch Jerry Jeudy up there, and from the start of the snap, if right when he's making his turn here, if you could pause it, I want everyone to look at Deshaun Watson, because first off, while that's playing, watch DeJuan Jones. DeJuan Jones gets beat. So right there, Jerry Jeudy is opening up his break. That's when Deshaun Watson would throw that ball, if he were able to, because if you look down, Deshaun Watson's on the hash, okay? He's doing his drop back. So go ahead and hit play. Deshaun's dropping back on the hash. So that's where he's set. So he's about to take his last step right there. So this is where you need, again, you need 10 yards, so everything needs to develop. He can't throw the ball here because you're not going to get anything. No one's looking. So again, right here, not one player has their back turned or has their face towards Deshaun Watson. You can't throw the ball yet. So when Jerry Jeudy's break is coming and Deshaun could throw the ball, take a look down at DeJuan Jones. So right there is where he would need to start winding up to throw the ball, and DeJuan Jones is getting beat. So Deshaun Watson's about to get hit. If he gets hit while he's throwing that ball, what happens 9 times out of 10 when a quarterback gets hit when they're throwing a ball? It becomes a duck. It wobbles, it floats, and it gets intercepted 9 times out of 10. So they want that. If he tried to throw that ball, he's going to be able to put nothing on it, and he's going to get hit, and it's going to be intercepted. They're baiting this. Now, we'll rewind it again, and we're going to watch Amari Cooper, because the number one thing people were saying was Jerry Jeudy was wide open. He should have thrown that ball. Didn't have a chance, because you have to plant your feet. He can't throw it on one foot. And again, Jerry Jeudy wasn't even in his fucking position yet. Okay, so now we'll watch Amari Cooper right here. They have the two guys right there in case he throws it. You see him right there at the 35. There's not a window to throw the ball there. That's what the defenders are praying for. So right here, he probably could have lofted it, but you have to make again, he's a $230 million quarterback. So yes, whatever. You could attempt this throw, but that corner, you can see turning his hips right there at the 35, is shadowing Amari Cooper. And if he tries to lob it to, let's say, the 45-yard line to Amari Cooper, even if he's running towards the sideline, that safety at the 50 there, his job is to stop that route. So, yes, here Deshaun Watson could have tried to force a ball to Amari Cooper. That would have been his best option, but there's still a very, very good chance it gets intercepted. The Jerry Jeudy one, again, by the time Jeudy is ready to get a ball thrown to him, Deshaun couldn't set his feet because Dawand Jones got beat. Now, the icing on the cake, George, if you can let it play again, when Jordan Akins at the 50 was covered, you see these guys again, 1, 2, 3 defenders right there. The guy who I saw breaking down this film goes, he should have thrown it right there. Look at how open that guy was. He literally said Deshaun should have thrown the ball up into triple coverage because he's wide open. That's when I said I can't even argue with people that watch this shit and think that, because you're literally saying a guy throwing into triple coverage is an open man. So at this point, you could tell they're just trying to find anything to hate on Deshaun. Now, here is a scramble play. He has decided, you know what? If I can get this edge and he can block, I can maybe get this first down. So Deshaun's trying to run for the first down. Obviously, we know what happened. We didn't get it. I think he got like 5 yards. There was a horrible block there. And yeah, he got 5 yards. There was nobody open. Although, yes, in a picture, 30 yards away from Deshaun Watson, yes, they look open. But again, the ball doesn't just get transferred there. He has to throw it. It needs time in the air. Even a bullet pass needs time in the air. That's where NFL defenders can make separation to the ball. They can get there fast. There was nobody open on this play. Every throw he could have made, Washington wanted him to make. They played this fucking perfectly. Their defense was perfect. They had guys set up 10 yards away to prevent the first down from the underneath. They had all their guys in zone prepared for any deep ball. There was nobody open. Look at right here. So let's say he tries to force a ball to somebody. So yeah, you could try to hit Akins on the sideline, maybe, but there's a defender on his back. You could maybe try to hit Jeudy, who's running to the sideline there, closer to the 50. Defender right in front of him. You could maybe throw across your body to Amari Cooper, or across your body down there to Elijah Moore, which most NFL quarterbacks cannot, no quarterback should ever throw across their body, and most don't, because it's really fucking hard when your entire body is rolling left to turn and throw the ball to the right. That's why you don't see it that often, because it's fucking hard to do. And again, at this point, he's running, trying to avoid a sack, and he's clear across the other side of the field. Any attempt to throw to Elijah Moore down there would more than likely be a fucking horribly inaccurate pass. Because again, that's why quarterbacks don't make those throws. And also right here, he's looking up the field at those guys running towards the sideline because he knows those are his three options if he tries to throw it, which he doesn't. So he doesn't see Elijah Moore. But again, Browns fans, for some reason, just think that a quarterback can see the entire field no matter what. Like they have the biggest eyes and they're watching from this view, essentially. All right, I'm going to break down my full screen here. So that's a quick little breakdown of film for everybody. And okay, this is a great angle too. So we're going to look right here. So he drops back, gets his last step right here. So this is where everyone's saying, throw it there to those two guys. That he is 2 yards away from the line of scrimmage on the right. He is about 6 yards away from the line of scrimmage on the left. Washington defenders in the picture, you can see them. They are praying that we throw this ball. And Deshaun Watson's looking at Jerry Jeudy. Could he get himself set to throw it to Jeudy? No, because this guy just beat Dawand Jones. So he couldn't set his feet. He had to shuffle out of the pocket. And the other thing, too, which again, Easier said than done. It's easy for a guy sitting on your couch to go, oh, well, just step up and make the throw. Deshaun Watson doesn't realize, he doesn't know how close the guy is behind him. You're out there running for your life with 300-pound guys chasing after you. So Deshaun at this point goes, all right, I'm going to try to extend this play. Let me roll out before I cross the line of scrimmage. Look at that. Who the fuck is open? Who could he throw to? Nobody. Play is dead. DeJuan Jones got beat, caused everything to go left, caused everybody to be covered. Washington played that perfectly because they also get paid to do what they're supposed to do. That's their job. I know a lot of Browns fans just think because you're a Browns fan, we should just have 100% completion rate. We should be able to move the ball at ease against any defense at any given time. Those guys on the other side of the field are also paid to do that job. They're paid to stop an offense. They did it beautifully. That was a perfectly called defensive play by the Washington Commanders, which leads me back to my initial point that this Ken Dorsey offense is so fucking predictable. They know we're not running the ball, so there's no chance of a play action fake. If we run the ball, we have no talented running backs right now, so there's no chance of us getting any type of yardage or even creating a run game. Most of our good runs come late in games because teams have given up. Usually we're losing by a lot, so teams kind of stop caring. Our defense couldn't stop the run. Abysmal against Washington. Couldn't stop the pass. Abysmal. Even with 2 turnovers, the game was never close. And then the Ken Dorsey offense, to me, is a failed experiment. It's a shame. The season's over. Again, you're 1-4. You're going to be 1-5 come Sunday afternoon. Your season's over. It's done. Firing Ken Dorsey now really doesn't do much. To me, it just kind of shows they're going to admit a mistake. And I hate to say it. I hate to look at it this way as a diehard fan. It's time to look to the future. If you're planning on rolling with Deshaun Watson again next year, which I don't know what they're going to do, there's a lot of people out there that have the thought that they could just cut him or move on, just bench him. It's fine. He's taking up so much of our cap that you're stuck with him. Yes, you could cut him. Sure, you could. What are you going to get for him? Or what are you going to get out of that? Nothing. You still owe him all that money. That money is still in your books. So what's the difference? All you're doing is allowing another team to take advantage. Again, who knows? He's not very good, so it's not like the Russell Wilson situation where Russell Wilson was okay. Russell Wilson was decent in Denver. He wasn't this washed. And Russell Wilson was able to get cut, go to the Steelers for league minimum, and he's still making a killing from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Will another team pick up Deshaun Watson? Would they, I should say, if he ever got cut? Maybe. I don't know. Even if they didn't, you're still paying him, so it's irrelevant. A lot of Browns fans just think, okay, whatever, this year sucks, move on, we'll get a new quarterback next year. You can't. You're strapped. They went all in on Deshaun Watson. At the time, I loved it. I'm the first to admit it. I will eat my words when this is all said and done if it keeps playing out the way that it is, and it's looking like it will. We traded for a guy who at one point was an MVP candidate. We traded for a guy who's won a college national championship, who was a first-round draft pick, who, again, was an MVP candidate. He was putting up killer numbers. He led the league in completion percentage. He is a stud. We traded for a guy that I thought was going to turn our franchise around because we finally got a quarterback who's not just average or below average. We got a guy who, again, was top of the league. He's been a fucking bust. This whole situation has been a bust. There's also misconceptions out there of, the whole team doesn't want to play with Watson, so they quit. That's why the whole team sucks. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. These guys are out there. They're going to give 100% every time because whatever happens to Deshaun Watson, they don't give a fuck. If they look bad on tape, they might not have a job next year. There's a lot of people that say, the offensive line's just not blocking because they hate Deshaun. Okay, so you mean to tell me that all these guys who only a couple of them have guaranteed jobs in the future, Wyatt Teller, Joel Bitonio, for sure, guaranteed jobs in the future. Jedrick Wills, he's playing on the final year of his contract. If he's out there allowing Deshaun to get beat up and he's looking terrible doing it, he's going to cost himself tens of millions of dollars next year in his next contract. He's not doing that. DeJuan Jones came into the league. Initially, the red flag was that does he care about football? Played a great rookie year. Got hurt. Came back. Looks out of shape. Looks like he doesn't give a fuck. Looks like he doesn't want to be there. Maybe that red flag was accurate. He's getting his rookie money, but in 2 years, he'll be due for a contract. If he continues to play like this and look like shit, and they have this tape of him looking horrible because doesn't want to play for Deshaun Watson, he's costing himself tens of millions of dollars. Let me just tell you, I personally do not have tens of millions of dollars. Probably never will. I'm assuming most people watching are in the same boat. Are you willing to piss away tens of millions of dollars to prove a point to somebody? No, I don't think so. Athletes don't do that. Athletes sign with shitty teams all the time because they offer them the most money. Money is everything 99% of the time. Players will just go wherever the most money is. And they're also not going to try to put out shitty tape and risk not getting that money in the future. So all this, everyone's quitting on the team because of Watson misconception is garbage. Amari Cooper, same thing. There were people that were asking me, do you think Amari Cooper's taking a shit because he doesn't like Deshaun Watson? He's mad about the trade rumors. No, Amari Cooper's on the last year of his contract. If Amari Cooper keeps playing like this and becomes a free agent, no one's going to want him. He is going to cost himself millions of dollars, possibly his career. He's a 30-something-year-old wide receiver that's slowing down dramatically, dropping the ball. Your sole job as a wide receiver is to catch the ball. If you can't do that, a lot of teams aren't going to want you. Look at Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney was a first-round pick. Kadarius Toney started dropping the ball a ton. Kind of was a menace. He's now on the Browns. He's been on 3 or 4 teams at this point because nobody wants to hold on to him because he's not a consistent wide receiver, because he's known for drops. But yeah, no, Amari Cooper's dropping balls on purpose. Not that it would have made a fuck of a difference. Beautiful ball thrown to Jerry Jeudy in the end zone, past the defender's hand, hit Jerry Jeudy right across the chest. He had his arms like this. You just fucking tuck that into your chest. That's a touchdown all day. What did Jerry Jeudy do? Whoop, slipped right through. Drop ball. Dropped it. Touchdown. Well, what are you going to do? Blame Deshaun all you want. That's fine. But what about plays like that? That's what I told some of the guys that were talking about the tape. They're like, well, look at this play. He's wide open. Look at that play. He's wide open. I said, okay, go watch a tape of a guy that drops a fucking wide open ball. Go watch the 4th down pass to Cedric Tillman. Go watch the fumble from Jerome Ford when we were trying to make a comeback against the Giants when Jerome Ford fumbled. Go back and watch the drop from Amari Cooper. That would have been a huge momentum boost that instead turned into points for Las Vegas because he dropped the ball and it turned into an interception. Go look at those plays. Look at the Jerry Jeudy drop in the end zone. Touchdown. Who knows what happens? Their momentum is such a fickle thing in the NFL that, yes, a touchdown like that could boost a little confidence in your team. And you go, shit, all right, we may be down by a couple scores, but we're not out of it. There's plenty of game left. Let's go. Instead, there's a drop. And then I think the next play was a false start. And then that's what turned into the fucking 12 men on the field. So it was just one bullshit thing after another. The Browns are beating themselves. They're bad. The season's over again. I don't think you bench Deshaun, in my opinion, at this point. Ride it out. What's the difference? What are you playing for? Does anybody out there realistically think that Jameis Winston's going to come in, he's going to play, and you're going to go on a tear, and you're going to be a playoff team, you're going to be a Super Bowl contender? Get fucked. Get real. There's no chance. It's over. But as of right now, there's no changes. They're sticking to the status quo. It's been shit for 5 weeks. They're sticking with it, sticking with shit for a 6th week against Philadelphia, who, in my opinion, were a Super Bowl contender. Not looking like it now, but they were a Super Bowl contender. Whoops, dropped my old Apple Watch. But they have no chance on Sunday. Again, spoiler alert, but I digress. We're going to switch gears here. We're going to talk a little playoff baseball. As you guys all know, the Guardians lost today 3-0. Guardians have been shut out for 2 consecutive games. Guardians haven't scored in 20 innings. Pathetic. You're in the playoffs. Expect low-scoring games? Sure. What lost in the game on Monday? Emmanuel Clase missed terribly, hung a slider. Kelly Carpenter crushed it. 3-run home run, top of the 9th. Guardians lost 3-0. Today, three runs did it again, 3-0. Guardians couldn't score. Low-scoring games. Our pitchers are doing a decent job. Tanner Bybee pitched a gem on Saturday. Everybody that pitched on Monday pitched great. Again, it was a shutout till Emmanuel Clase, 1 bad pitch, 3-run home run, done. And then today, a couple of base hits. They scored 1 in the first inning, so okay, whatever, 1 run, you can come back from that. Then they scored again a couple innings later. Okay, 2-0, not the end of the world. And then when they went up 3-0, I went, okay, we're fucked. quick breakdown of today. So to start the game, AJ Hinch, former cheater with the Houston Astros, their manager back when they were cheaters, he is now the manager of the Detroit Tigers. He announced before the game they're going to the bullpen game, and they're starting a righty. So Stephen Vogt gets a left-heavy lineup in the game. Game starts. Boom. First inning, 3 up, 3 down. Detroit comes up. Again, couple base hits, scored a run, 1-0. Not the end of the world. Second inning comes around. You're thinking their bullpen game, they're going to stick with the guy that just threw 6 pitches. He threw 6 pitches, got out of the first inning, 1, 2, 3. So you think, okay, this guy's got 2 or 3 innings in him at least. Nope. AJ Hinch pulls him. Puts in a lefty. So what does Stephen Vogt do? Stephen Vogt starts saying, all right, fuck it. I'm pulling players. He took out Will Brennan. Will Brennan started the game. Before he got his first at bat, Will Brennan was benched for Jhonkensy Noel, because Jhonkensy Noel is a right-handed batter. Kyle Manzardo, young up-and-coming player, could potentially be our future power slugger, who hit a ball on Monday that if he had an extra inch of ass behind that thing, was a goner. Home run, no question. Almost went off the wall. Crushed it. He got 1 at-bat today. His next at-bat, pulled. Taken out of the game. For David Fry, a righty. Because we were playing this lefty-righty bullshit. So by the second inning, Stephen Vogt already had 2 guys done, because obviously you guys all know in baseball, if you pull somebody out of the game, they're done for the whole game. Stephen Vogt got tricked so badly by AJ Hinch today that he fucked everything up. And then what happened at the end of the game? Not that it mattered. There were 2 outs. The offense was garbage. It was the top of the 9th, because we were the road team. Top of the 9th, 2 outs. Who do we have to bring up for a pinch hitting situation? Because all that's left on our bench was Angel Martinez. What's his name? Daniel Schneemann. And, of course, the one who actually got the at-bat, Austin Hedges. That's it. Austin fucking Hedges came up. The dude bats 100. If he's lucky. He's a terrible batter. What happened? He got the last at-bat today. What did he do? Struck out. But that's all we had. The bench was gutted. Because Stephen Vogt got fucking outmanaged. He's a rookie. He's in the playoffs. He's supposed to be this, man's man. Or, player's manager. Great guy. And he shit the bed. Fucking terrible. Literally an embarrassing performance today, top to bottom for the offense. Pitchers, I'll never be mad at a team for giving up 3 runs. 3 runs is nothing that happens. There's not much you can do. But to score 0 in 20-plus innings, that's fucking embarrassing. I don't know. I'm very down. I mean, I love Cleveland sports. I'm devastated. Again, I was truthfully close to just saying fuck this game or fuck this episode. I didn't even want to talk. I know I'm going to have to go into work tomorrow, and I'm going to have to deal with people that are like, oh, the Guardians stink, blah, blah, which they do. Again, they deserve it. I just don't want to hear it all fucking day. And yeah, Francona, I didn't even think to add that in today's episode. Baseball news. Terry Francona agrees to become the manager of the Cincinnati Reds after taking a year off. He did say when he resigned from the Guardians, it was a mutual separation. He said, for health reasons, I am stepping down. I'm going to take a year or 2 off. He took a year off. He's apparently thinks he's healthy enough to manage again. He's going to the Reds. More power to him. I could care less, honestly. If I'm being honest, I said it a little bit last season that I think Tito is kind of losing the locker room. He's a great manager, Hall of Fame manager, but I feel like eventually if you're with a team for like 10 years and you have nothing to show for it, yeah, they went to a World Series. Yes, they went to the playoffs a bunch. He knows what he's doing with these young players, but eventually, you're not winning anything. Last year we were coming off a horrible year. We missed the playoffs. They were a bad team. Looked like a rebuild was coming. It was time to move on. And again, Tito had health issues. He missed a ton of time. There were multiple occasions where he would miss months at a time for whatever ailment that he had. So yeah, he took a year off. He pulled in Urban Meyer. When Urban Meyer left Florida, it was for health reasons, and he went to Ohio State. Then Urban Meyer left Ohio State for health reasons, and then he went to Jacksonville. And then Urban Meyer got really horny in Jacksonville and got fired because he was a horrible coach. So Tito Francona is just pulling an Urban Meyer, but without the sexual misconduct stuff. He is just going to be the manager of the Reds. More power to him. Kudos. A lot of Guardians fans are like acting pissed about it. I truthfully could care less. He was gone. Whether he came back this year, whether he came back next year, he was no longer the Guardians manager. He's not coming back. There's no, oh, you're healthy now? Let us fire Stephen Vogt. Let's bring you in. He was gone. The Guardians had moved on. Not a big deal. That's what happens in life. But anyway, back to everything. Yeah, the Kansas City Royals and the New York Yankees series is tied up 1-1. They will play tonight here. They might have already started. I don't know. In Kansas City, they are at Kauffman Stadium today. The Mets and Phillies are down 2-1 in the series. They are currently down 4-1 in the game. It is the top of the ninth. They have a runner on first and second, no outs. Edwin Diaz is trying his best to blow this game for the Mets. We'll see what happens there. And then 2-1, San Diego leads over the Dodgers. Great series. That's been the best series. I half jokingly said it to my friends, but I also mean it. I told them that the World Series goes through California. I think the winner of the Padres or the Dodgers series is going to be the NL representative in the World Series. Just my gut pick. American League, no idea. Wide open. Kansas City can beat New York. New York can beat Kansas City. Cleveland can kind of beat Detroit, and they can beat themselves, and Detroit can beat them. American League is a complete wash. Toss-up, I should say. Edwin Diaz keeps throwing balls. I love seeing that. There we go. That was a good one. No, it's great. I love playoff. There's nothing better than playoff baseball. I watch every pitch that I can because every pitch is so important. You're on the edge of your seat, literally any pitch, and it could be, a wasted pitch that's a ball in the dirt, an 0-2 count. Guy throws the ball in the dirt, catcher just tosses it off to the side. You see that. To them, it's routine, but for me, to baseball fans, we're watching it like, oh fuck, here we go. So that's just me. That's how I watch it. At least I love it. I watch so many sporting events. It's disgusting. My wife doesn't even understand how I can love it so much, but I watch every baseball game that I can, every NFL game that I can. I watch NBA games, college football and shit like that. I watch the relevant ones. Again, I'll turn on a game and I want to watch a player. It's to see a guy that I can scout or, whatever. Just like, oh, this guy looks like he might be good in the pros, whatever. But professional sports, fucking love it. Inject it into my veins. I'll watch it all day. All right, so that's your playoff picture right now. The Mets just got one out, looking more and more likely they're going to be advancing to the NLCS. So kudos to them. I will be rooting hard against them because my friends that love New York and New York teams can absolutely go fuck themselves. So we'll talk about that later. Recapping the NFL and the week that was. Shout out to George for making this. He put a lot of time and effort into getting a display for the games that were. Thursday Night Football, you had the Buccaneers losing to the Falcons in overtime with a touchdown to Kadero Hodge. Kirk Cousins looked like a stud, went out there, threw for 500 yards. They win the game 36-30. Thursday Night Football, great game. Sorry, I'm a little parched. Sunday early morning in London, jolly old England. The Minnesota Vikings offense decided to take the day off and skip the flight, but their defense showed up. They picked off Aaron Rodgers 3 times, one of which was returned for a touchdown. They win the game 23-17, and I'll throw this little nugget in there. Robert Saleh fired. The Jets shit-canned him. He was escorted out of the facility. He had no idea this was coming. He walked in expecting, let's get to work, let's talk to the team, and they had security walk him out. He got fired. They wouldn't let him address anybody. Love it. The dysfunction in New York is real. The rumors that came out are that there were some words getting around that Nathaniel Hackett was going to get let go, who was their offensive coordinator, who is a very good friend of Aaron Rodgers, who Aaron Rodgers hand-selected to be their offensive coordinator, even though their offense sucks. And he was about to get fired. Robert Saleh was like, okay, we need to make some changes. Our offense stinks. Our team stinks. Let's get rid of Nathaniel Hackett. And before Nathaniel Hackett could get fired, they fired Robert Saleh, which a lot of people are saying was an Aaron Rodgers move. Saleh will get picked back up as a DC maybe next year. He already came out this year and said he's not doing anything this year. I think his career as a head coach is definitely done for now. he has to go reinvent himself. So, yeah, he'll have to go be a D coordinator again next year, or, a positional coach, linebacker coach, whatever, like Brian Flores did. Might be back in San Francisco. You never know. I mean, maybe they're happy with Nick Sorensen, former Cleveland Brown. Who knows? The Niners as a whole are just not a good team. But again, ton of injuries. They're blowing games left and right. But yeah, no, it definitely could be Sorensen on the way out. Could be Saleh back there because they are good friends, him and Shanahan. But they lose the Jets, of course, which is great. They fire Robert Saleh, which is also great. I've been rubbing that into my friends' faces for days. Love it. The Chicago Bears beat the absolute shit out of the Carolina Panthers 36-10. Of course, the Browns lose 34-13 to the Washington Commanders. The Dolphins get a late touchdown to beat the New England Patriots 15-10. The New England Patriots did announce that Drake May is their starting quarterback going forward. So kudos to him. I'm excited to see him play. Thought he was arguably the best prospect coming out of college last year. So I'm excited to see what happens. The Mets just officially won 4-1. They're going to the NLCS. Jaguars get their first win of the season with a last-minute field goal over Joe Flacco. Shout out to Joe Flacco. Kept him in it. And not enough, though. Trevor Lawrence gets his first W. And Doug Peterson saves his job for 1 week. The Houston Texans beat the Buffalo Bills 23-20 because of some very poor clock management from the Buffalo Bills. Inexcusable. But again, I go back to what I said. I say it every week. Houston looks like a beatable team. They're winning games, but not by a lot. I think they got a last second field goal to win that game. It was 20-20 for a while in the end there, and they got the late field goal, and they won that one. Speaking of late field goals, Baltimore-Cincinnati with a fucking barn burner that goes into overtime. They get the ball. Baltimore does. They get a strip sack on Lamar Jackson. They get the ball in Baltimore territory. They run 3 straight running plays that go absolutely nowhere. Evan McPherson misses the field goal because of a botched snap. Baltimore gets the ball, runs right down the field with Derrick Henry, kicks the game-winning field goal, and Cincinnati loses because they, for some reason, did not trust their franchise quarterback. Joe Burrow is, albeit they're 1-4 also, they look like shit. Joe Burrow is putting up MVP numbers. He's arguably the best quarterback in football right now, but they're 1-4 because their defense is trash. So, for whatever reason, in overtime, Zach Taylor did not put the ball in Joe Burrow's hands, and fans are pissed. So I would love to see that turn into a firing situation, collapse. I always love it for division rivals. Broncos beat up on the Raiders 34-18. The Raiders have made a quarterback change. They are going with Aiden O'Connell for the time being. The Giants get a surprise victory 29-20 over the Seattle Seahawks with a blocked field goal at the end of the game there. Interesting game. Seattle looks very pedestrian after they had a very easy schedule to start the season off. They're playing tomorrow night against the Niners. Very excited for that one. Rams lose a good game against the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay goes to LA and gets the win 24-19. The Niners collapse at the end and they blow it to the Arizona Cardinals. That cost me a decent parlay, so they can go fuck themselves. And Sunday Night Football, the Pittsburgh Steelers lose to the Dallas Cowboys after a 2-hour rain delay, or weather delay, I should say. 20-17, Cowboys win. That's great to see Pittsburgh lose. And then Monday Night Football, Derek Carr gets hurt. He is going to miss a significant amount of time, and the Chiefs manhandle them 26-13. All right, that was your week. That was. Now, because I had to get to baseball, I just wanted to get it off my chest. Normally, I would do the recap, then I would do a baseball segment or another sport, then we would move on to picks. But instead, we're going a little backwards. We're going to go right into picks. And George, because I am pissed off this week, I am going to try to end this episode right at 9 o'clock, even though it's going to be a little less than 2 hours. But I'm okay with that. I'm sure you are as well. Everyone watching and anyone that ever sees this episode is going to be lucky that I even fucking did it because I wanted nothing to do with sports today after the Browns or the Guardians game. So
I was gonna say you are hot as all get out. I have never seen you this furious, ever.
Livid. Sports ruined my life. I let it affect me way more than it should. But I am furious right now. I'm pissed. Again, my friends that are Mets fans, my group chat's going crazy because the Mets just won the NLCS. So of course they're blowing up my feed of how excited they are, how the Guardians choked today, blah, blah, blah. I'm hearing it, all, which is fine. Whatever. I'm used to talking shit with them. It's more so just the fact that, yes, the Guardians did completely shit the bed, and they should be up 2-1. Instead, they're down, backs against the wall. Just frustrating. And
I know. I'm going to hear it from my Detroit friends very, very soon here that, what happened? I was like, I'm not going to talk about it.
And that's the other thing, too, is I'm a very petty person. Misery loves company, as the saying goes. It's very accurate. So I have a friend, my good friend Josh, who I went to the NFL draft with this year. I took him to Detroit because he's from Detroit. Diehard Detroit fan. Michigan, loves the Tigers, loves the Lions, etc. He's a Tigers fan. He went to the game on Monday in Cleveland, wore all of his Tiger gear. They're him and his wife. They're all celebrating that the Tigers won. I hate that. I hate seeing that. I want them to be miserable. I want them to lose. So when they won today, all I thought of was, man, my really good friend is very happy, but I don't like that. I'm not happy for them. I want them to fucking lose. I want them to feel the pain and misery that I'm feeling. So there's always tomorrow. Again, I'm not giving up on the Guardians. They just have to go out there and score runs. That's all it is. If the bats can wake up, they're fine. It's just a matter of it's now or never. So figure it out in 24 hours or your season's over. So we'll see what happens. But with that being said, let's get right into picks. Now, again, I don't know what Kyle went off of for his picks, but I have them here on his list. So, of course, we have Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football is Seattle against the San Francisco 49ers. Should be a really good game. NFC West rivals. They always play really well together. This one's in Seattle, though, where it's sometimes tough to play. Wasn't last week, apparently, for the Giants, but known to be a tough place to play. Niners are banged up. Niners are coming off a very embarrassing loss. I am going to go, however, give me the Niners this week. I think the Niners are going to recover. I think that they're pissed off. They have a lot to prove to the world after that. Again, embarrassing loss. Short week.
And Kyle took Seattle.
Kyle did take Seattle, but I also feel like because Kyle has a 10-game deficit, that he is kind of grasping at straws. He's a little desperate to make a little comeback.
I think that could be your barn burner for the week too.
I hope so. I mean, I hate Seattle because my buddy that's in my group chat is a Seattle fan, so I want his team to lose, of course. But it's Thursday Night Football.
Said that Bryce is like right around the corner. I'm just waiting for him to.
I'm a huge Seattle hater because of my friend Craig. Sorry, Bryce. You can thank my buddy Craig for being a Seattle fan and for me not wanting his team to ever have any success. So I root against them as much as I can. But anyway, so George is going to be doing Kyle's picks today because Kyle's bowling. So as George said there, I already wrote it down. Kyle is going with the Seattle Seahawks at home. I'm going with the Niners. Next up, we have in London, jolly old England. This is a game where I might sleep in. I might not roll out of bed too excitedly to watch this one because it is the Chicago Bears and the Jacksonville Jaguars. There's a really good chance that if Jacksonville gets embarrassed, Doug Peterson has to make an awkward flight home with the team where he is no longer their head coach and he's fired. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. With that being said, they are in England, so it's a neutral ground, even though Jacksonville is technically, at this point, they're basically an England team because they play there multiple times a year. I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. Jacksonville is not a very good team. Chicago's defense is much better than the Colts defense, and for whatever reason, it looks like the Chicago Bears offense has kind of figured some shit out. So I am going to be going with Chicago. I know George will give Kyle's pick here, but I am going with Chicago in England.
Yeah, that's kind of scary because it doesn't matter what Jacksonville's doing. When they're across the pond, they're drinking some other water over there. And that's why, this is their first out of 2 trips.
Yeah, they do because they'll eventually be a full-time team in England, I think. But
yeah. Kyle did take Chicago as well. So, I mean, yeah, you said it. They've kind of figured something out, and it was just going to be a matter of time. They were going to get it together. You just got to give these rookies a little bit of time to get it, get their NFL timing down. And I think,
and don't get me wrong. Last year, the Bears obviously were a bad team. They technically had the 10th pick of the draft or whatever. They got the first pick because of that trade with Carolina, but they played Carolina last week. Carolina is one of the worst teams in football, so it's a good it's good to do that because when you're a bad team, you get a softer schedule. So Caleb Williams is able to go out there and try to learn against some lesser opponents. So a nice ass whooping of the Carolina Panthers is good for Caleb Williams. Now he's going up against a Jacksonville team who, again, 1-4. Their only loss to the Browns, they lost to the Browns, which is very embarrassing. And they got a decent win against Indianapolis, who's another team that's, not setting the world on fire. So I think Jacksonville's kind of tanking. They're in the toilet. They know it's over. They're about to fire Doug Peterson. I feel like Doug Peterson's coaching with a lot of stress, knowing that his job's on the line. So he will possibly coach his last game on Sunday. And again, might have to take a very, very awkward flight home.
And it's sad because Trevor Lawrence is a very good quarterback, and he's had to go through 4 coaches, 4 different systems in under 6 years. The couple of years.
He is a good quarterback. At least he was when he got recruited and drafted and all that. But in the pros, he has been very underwhelming. He's had a couple moments of flash, and then other than that, he's been very average. So I'm not saying he's a bust by any stretch, but he definitely needs to step it up for himself. He is at a point of his career where it's like, you're a veteran now. You're no longer a rookie. He got a huge contract. It's time to take that next step. Same thing with Justin Herbert. You have these guys who are super talented quarterbacks, top 5 draft picks, top 10 draft picks, and your team's relying on you to be the franchise quarterback, and it's time for you to help them take that next step. And neither of those quarterbacks have been able to do that. So we'll see what happens. Maybe this next coach, I think Doug Peterson's he was a good head coach in Philly. I don't think he was a good fit for Jacksonville. So maybe a change of scenery for both and maybe a new coach in Jacksonville. Not saying it would be him, but maybe Bill Belichick goes down. You know what I mean? Like there's plenty of options out there. That's a good situation for him because they have a decent roster. They're not a bad team by any stretch. They have a young quarterback. They have decent pieces on defense. So that would be a team to look out for Bill Belichick in case they do fire Doug Peterson. But that's discussion for the future. Next up, just to go in order of Kyle's picks so we don't get anything out of whack here. Next game is the Houston Texans against the New England Patriots. The Houston Texans faced a rookie quarterback already this year in Caleb Williams. They blitzed him a shit ton. They made his life miserable. That was his second career start, I believe, and he looked like a guy making a second career start. Now, they're going against a team with way less talent in New England, with a quarterback making his first career start in Drake May. While I like Drake May, yes, say your prayers because it's going to be ugly. Give me Houston in what I suspect to be not even a fucking competitive game.
Yeah, Kyle agree. I definitely agree with that too. It's like poor kid.
I feel bad. Hey, what is it? Trial by fire, baptism by fire. What better way to get acclimated with the NFL than to go up against a defense that's going to want to beat the hell out of you all day? So good luck to Drake May. Not holding my breath. Next up, we have the Ravens against the Commanders. Their offense is really good. Jaden Daniels is looking really good. However, Washington's defense is not very good. Yes, they looked good against the Browns, but overall, they're not a very good defense. With that being said, the Ravens have a really good offense, and the Ravens have a very good defense. I am going to go with the Baltimore Ravens in the battle of the East Coast.
Kyle agrees with you on that one.
I hate to do it. It makes me physically to pick the Ravens.
Yep. He's going right along with you.
All right. So Baltimore, sweep across the board for everybody. Next up, Kyle has the Browns game. We're going to skip that one till the end. Obviously, you guys know the rules. So we're going to move on to the Green Bay Packers hosting the Arizona Cardinals. Green Bay looks like a really good team. Jordan Love looks healthy. The Cardinals, yes, they got that last-minute win against the Niners, but they don't look consistent. They're a team that looks bad for a half, then they look good. I don't think Green Bay is going to let them do that Jekyll and Hyde shit and let them back in the game. I think Green Bay is going to be able to get a lead, establish that lead, establish a run game, establish dominance, and hold their foot on the gas. I like Green Bay to win this one.
Yeah, so does Kyle. He agrees with you on that. It's like Arizona's gotten a couple of fluke wins. I mean,
they strike me as a team that they'll get a fluke win every 2 or 3 weeks. Right now, since they got one last week, this is not going to be their week. So I have to go with Green Bay, especially at home.
Yeah. 100%.
Got to go with the Packs. All right, next up, Kyle has the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the New Orleans Saints on the docket. The New Orleans Saints last week, I would have picked them probably to win this game. Their defense is pretty good. Their offense is streaky. But Derek Carr has been ruled out officially. They're going with Spencer Rattler as their starting quarterback, who was not good in Atlanta. And I'm sorry, I'm thinking of
No.
Sorry,
Desmond Ritter. You're thinking of Desmond Ritter.
I'm thinking of two bum quarterbacks, neither of which I have faith in winning a game against Tampa Bay. So give me the Buccaneers to bounce back after that tough loss on Thursday Night Football. Tampa Bake.
And Tampa had already up and moved due to the hurricane. So they were already in Louisiana already. So that, just FYI, the team is already there and they'll be spending the whole week there. So Kyle also turned around and took Tampa Bay.
Yeah, whether they played this during a hurricane, whether they played it in New Orleans, whether they played it on the moon, I'm taking Tampa Bay in this one. I don't think New Orleans has a chance with a guy making his first career start.
Interesting, because I did take New Orleans even with the new kid.
You did?
I have a little bit more trust in the defense up against Baker than that. So I was like, yeah, I think the defense is probably going to bail them out.
I mean, it's definitely possible.
A lot of weapons, I think it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, offensively, they've got guys all over the place. I mean, if Kamara can get going, if you have a rookie quarterback, just hand it off to him, dink and dunk with him, lots of screens. There are ways to win this game. It's just more so I don't trust Dennis Allen, their head coach. So
fair enough.
When I look at a 50-50 game like this, I would typically go with the home team, but then I think in other variables and I go, okay, you have a guy making his first career start who, for some reason, when Derek Carr got hurt, they didn't put in the game on Monday Night Football. Don't understand that. And then you have Dennis. So, no, you're good.
I thought that was Coca-Cola, and it ended up being root beer. Kelly brought it in.
Yeah, it's definitely a different taste.
I was like, oh, that is not what I thought it was.
I know you're not a drinker, so I was going to ask if it was a little stronger than you thought. And then I was like, well, wait, no, that wouldn't make sense.
No, I was going to say no. If the captain was involved, of course, I would know. I would totally know.
And then next up, Kyle has the Titans hosting the Indianapolis Colts on his docket. Interesting game here. More than likely going to have. I don't know if Anthony Richardson is going to play. I know he's trying to get out there. It's not looking good, so it's going to be another Joe Flacco game against Tennessee, who's not a very good team.
Are you surprised by that, by the way?
Say again.
Are you surprised by that, by the way?
By what?
By Tennessee on how bad their start this is going for them after they thought they found a new franchise quarterback at the end of last year?
I saw enough last year from Will Levis to know that he is just a guy, if that makes sense. He's an average quarterback. He has no special elite arm talent. He looks to me like he's going to be a career backup quarterback that bounces around from team to team. He'll get his time in when, if someone goes down. But as far as giving the keys to the castle, being the franchise quarterback that Tennessee's trying to make him, no, I think they're a better team if they play Mason Rudolph, honestly. So if they do go back to Will Levis, and that's saying something because Mason Rudolph is not a good quarterback either. So that's saying something about Levis. I think he has more command of an offense to be a game manager, whereas Will Levis just makes stupid mistakes. So that's the problem with Levis. Will Levis, if he could control his emotions and not make those stupid decisions, which I'm sure everyone and their brother has seen, he's done about 3 of them this year, where even his own head coach looks at him and goes, what the fuck? That's not good. When your head coach is visibly saying what the fuck on national television, not good. And it's happened more than once. So I think that's just who Will Levis is as a quarterback. He reminds me of what's the best? I guess I would say he reminds me of a less athletic, less talented Jameis Winston, where they're going to make a nice play, and then they're going to do something where you go, what the fuck was he thinking? That's Will Levis. That was Jameis Winston when he was with Tampa. That's why Jameis Winston had a 30-30 season. 30 touchdowns, awesome. 30 interceptions, absurd. But that's Jameis Winston, and that's Will Levis.
Gotcha.
So, with that being said, I'm going to go with Indianapolis to get this win here because Joe Flacco has proven that he still can move that ball around the field. And it might be, another super high-scoring game like it was against Jacksonville last week because, Indianapolis' defense is not very good either. But at the end of the day, I'm going with the veteran quarterback, over Will Levis. Give me Joe Flacco.
Kyle agrees. Kyle agrees with that. I totally agree. I even agreed with it so much I picked up Flacco in 2 leagues to turn around and start.
He should have a really good game. His defense is trash. So this is a good week to play him if you get anybody on a bye. All right. Next up, Kyle has the Denver Broncos hosting the Los Angeles Chargers on his list. Coming off a bye week, Denver's defense is playing lights out. Their defense is good as fuck. Patrick Surtain is proving to everybody why he just became the highest paid cornerback in football. He had 2 interceptions last week, 1 return for a touchdown. Albeit it was against the Raiders and Gardner Minshew. Still an accomplishment. With that being said, I am going to go with the home team. I'm going to ride with the Denver Broncos until they give me a reason to think their defense can't stop everybody. I have no faith in the Chargers. They look like a really bad team this year. So I'm going with the Denver Broncos.
Whew. Brave. Bo Nix taken. Kyle disagrees, and he is going with the Chargers.
This is how I extend my lead, George.
Bo Nix is definitely, apparently, I even brought it up before. I was like, okay, if Denver turns around and has a full-on collapse, is Sean Payton on the hot seat?
For sure. And then Bo Nix decided to start winning some games. The first couple weeks of the season, I for sure would have said, okay, Denver's going to fire Sean Payton. They're in a rebuild. And then all of a sudden now they've won 2 or 3 games in a row. Bo Nix is out there scoring touchdowns, not turning it over anymore. And again, their defense is playing like arguably the best defense in football. So as long as Bo Nix doesn't make mistakes, they're in every game. I mean, again, they beat the Jets a couple weeks ago with 60 passing yards because their defense shut them the fuck down, and they held the Jets to 3 field goals. Next week, they go up against the Raiders, who the Browns, of course, made look like the greatest show on turf, and the Denver Broncos did a great job shutting them down. Again, multiple interceptions, 1 return for a touchdown. Their defense is no joke. Going against the Chargers, who I can't get a vibe on yet. They tried really hard in the beginning of the season to be a run-heavy team. Then they started trying to put the ball back in Justin Herbert's hands, and they're very indifferent. They're middle of the pack. I don't understand their identity yet. Their defense is okay. They don't have any attributes that make me go, okay, they'll win because of this. They instead have me thinking they might come in with the wrong game plan, and Denver's going to figure it out pretty quickly and shut them down, and they're going to struggle to score, which gives Denver the upper hand. So as a 50-50 type of game, this is where I'm going with the coin flip. And both head coaches are good. Both have good history in the NFL. So I can't use the Dennis Allen excuse here. I have to go with just the home team, which is what I typically do in these toss-ups. So I'm going Denver. Next up, Kyle has the Pittsburgh Steelers going to Vegas. He has Pittsburgh winning against Aiden O'Connell. Hate to say it, I hate Pittsburgh with a passion, but I agree on this one because Pittsburgh is going to be going against Aiden O'Connell, who is not a good quarterback, proven last year. Devontae Adams is, of course, still sitting out as he requests a trade, so that's not going to make any difference that's not going to help their offense at all. Their running game is non-existent.
Yeah, that's ugly.
The only bright side is Pittsburgh's offensive line is shit. They're all hurt. They have no offensive line. Their wide receivers aren't very good. If Max Crosby can wreak havoc, that would be really nice to see. Maybe make life difficult for Justin Herbert. The only way the Raiders really have a chance is if their defense can come up with some huge turnovers. Don't know if that's going to happen, but I would love to see it.
Very high scoring at all.
No, I don't either. I think these are two very bad offenses. That's going to be a low scoring game. So this could be like a 13-10 type of game.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I do think it will be Pittsburgh that gets a W. So I have to go with Pittsburgh as much as, again, it really fucking pains me to write them as winners. I hate doing it.
Yeah. Hey, I'll just take 5 field goals again. I got the kicker.
Yeah, Chris Boswell. He'll fucking, that's all you need.
Why not?
Doesn't miss, and they're in a dome. Perfect fucking storm.
Right.
Next up, the Detroit Lions are going to Dallas in what should be a great game. What should have been a great game, I should say, had Dallas not had so many injuries. They are without Micah Parsons. They are without multiple players on defense. Offensively, they have just about everybody, but Dak Prescott has not looked good this year. He got that huge contract, and he is a very, very average quarterback. Yes, they pulled out the W in Pittsburgh, but it was not without Dak trying to give the game away. He had a strip sack. He threw a horrible interception. Just multiple boneheaded moves. Detroit's a very good team. Detroit's relatively healthy. They're getting Frank Ragnow back this week. Their star center. That's huge for them. Again, Dallas is missing a lot of key pieces. Dallas was able to get the W against Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh doesn't have as much talent as Detroit. Detroit, I think, is going to come out ready to win, ready to show the world that they're the best team in the NFC, and they're ready to show the world that they can compete with America's team. Give me the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, Kyle agrees with you 100%. I think most of them, America, except for everybody in Texas, practically.
Yeah, everybody but Cowboys fans thinks the Cowboys don't have a chance this week.
Literally. Yep. Literally and figuratively.
Next up, that gets us to the Dirty Birds going to Carolina. The Atlanta Falcons heading into Carolina again. Atlanta's coming off a huge win. Kirk Cousins throwing for 500 yards. Carolina has come back to reality. Andy Dalton came in, gave him a quick spark against the Vegas Raiders, and they are back to being a very bad team. With that being said, give me Atlanta. I don't think anybody's going to even think about taking Carolina for the rest of the year.
Yeah, Kyle agrees. He also takes Atlanta. Me personally, I don't know. It's Carolina back at home in Atlanta. Kirk Cousins is kind of on and off. It depends on what week it is. So,
yeah, the only thing is I think Carolina's that bad that even a Kirk Cousins off day, they could still win pretty easily. That's how bad Carolina is.
Not as bad as the Sunday night football game. Jeez, oh, Pete.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to Sunday night football. Sunday night football, it actually could be a decent game. So
this is going to be my first full weekend of finally, because our football season with the Sailors will be done this week. It finishes tomorrow. So this will be actually my first Sunday to actually sit and watch football. I have not. I have not been able to watch anything. So it's like, wow, this is my first weekend. And my first Sunday, I'm going to be able to watch a lot of football. And it's like, you know what? I might be able to just leave the abode of the studio and go hang out with the missus and watch something else on Sunday night.
Yeah, this one is one that, it would be really nice if Malik Neighbors plays. I don't think he's been cleared yet to return from that concussion. This would be cool to see Malik Neighbors, Jamar Chase, very nice wide receiver matchup. I just don't think New York has the firepower to keep up. Again, as I said earlier, Joe Burrow, as shitty as the Bengals are at 1-4, Joe Burrow is leading the league almost in most
he's like the sixth ranked. He's like the sixth ranked quarterback in the league right now.
Yeah, I think he has the most touchdowns or second most touchdowns. He's got like the most yards. He's killing it. The Giants defense is not very good. They've just been able to, play hard. Again, they beat the Browns. They beat the Seahawks. They're not exactly setting the world on fire. Even with Malik Neighbors, though, I don't think it's going to be enough to keep up offensively with the Cincinnati Bengals. Could be an interesting game to watch. Maybe they keep it close. I mean, New York did keep it close on Thursday Night Football against the Cowboys a couple of weeks ago. It was an entertaining game, but albeit at the end they ended up losing, so it was irrelevant. With that being said, I do think the Bengals are going to get this W here. I think their offense has too much firepower. I don't think New York's going to be able to keep up.
Yeah, Kyle takes Cincinnati as well. And with the Monday night game looking like it is right now, shoot, I may tell the fellas, hey, let's do the Dueling Aces show on Sunday night, and we'll be able to sit down and watch Monday night football.
That's a really good idea.
I'm sitting there going, this could get real interesting real quick for Monday night.
All right. And then we get to Monday Night Football. Jets are coming off firing Robert Saleh. They have promoted Jeff Ulrich to head coach, who was their defensive coordinator, which means two things. They might get a spark. A lot of teams, when you fire your head coach, that first game after your head coach comes in, you get a spark.
And they usually win.
Exactly. This is a huge game for the Jets. Their season is on the line. They're 2-3. They're not very good. Basically, a loss in your division to Buffalo could be crucial because most people have Buffalo winning the division. So a division loss is huge. They know what's at stake. It's a huge game. Now they lost their defensive coordinator, so someone else is going to have to step up, which is interesting because their issue for the most part has not been their defense. Their issue has been their offense. So they promote the defensive coordinator. Their offensive coaches are all still there, all still calling the shots. I don't know how they expect that to get better by promoting another defensive-minded coach. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't think in the long run this move is going to make much of a difference for the Jets. I don't think it's going to make them a better team. I predicted them to suck this year. Rodgers is 40-plus years old. I jokingly told my friends Robert Saleh is going to get shit-canned at the end of the season. He didn't even make it 5. He barely made it 5 games. Kyle, I'll let George do Kyle's pick here.
Yep. Kyle takes
first.
Buffalo.
Kyle's taking Buffalo. I love that pick. Truthfully, I want to pick Buffalo.
What? What's this? You're going to do what?
Jets. I am doing what I hate. I don't mind doing this because 2 things. I have a big enough lead against Kyle with 10 games.
Yeah,
I can live with this one.
Man,
Is it?
People are going to ask, "What's in your beer, dude? What are you drinking?"
Water. I'm drinking straight water today. This is watermelon flavored sparkling water. Maybe that's why I'm not thinking straight. I don't have any alcohol in my body.
I was going to say there's the reason right there.
I'm doing it only because I'm riding with the new head coach magic. For whatever reason, most teams get it. I have to go with that. Buffalo's coming off a brutal loss to the Texans. Josh Allen got pretty banged up. The Bills' defense is okay. It's not great. Their offense is okay, not great. And again, the Jets' defense is still playing at a pretty high level. They're playing very well. Their offense just sucks. So all we need is if Rodgers has a decent game, they might be able to pull this one out. And again, I'm going with the new head coach magic. They're the home team. Kyle's taking the Buffalo Bills. I want to take the Buffalo Bills, but I also have a comfortable enough lead that I don't mind going opposite with this one. Give me the New York Jets. Because if they lose, whatever. I lose a game to Kyle, not the end of the world. I can talk shit to my buddies for their team losing. If they win, all right, it gets me a point. So give me the New York Jets.
And that puts you back to Cleveland and Philly.
And then last but not least, the Cleveland Browns are heading to the shitty of brotherly love, not city. I've been to Philadelphia. It's a dump. Everything smells like piss. I hated it there. Truly one of the worst cities I've ever been to in America. I went there for the draft when it was in Philly, and I hated it. It was a horrible experience. I did not like Philadelphia at all. However, with that being said, I got everything out of my system in the beginning of the game, and nothing's changing. The Browns are making no changes. So if you watch this team weeks 1 through 5, and you said to yourself, okay, they need to come up with something different. They need to do something a little different. The Browns said, fuck you. Deshaun Watson starting, whether you like it or not. Ken Dorsey is the offensive coordinator, whether you like it or not. Kevin Stefanski is calling the plays, whether you like it or not. Nothing is changing. The only thing that's changing is we have less talented players on the field because more players have gotten hurt and gone on IR. We have, again, as I said earlier, put our long snapper, which may not seem like a big deal, but Charlie Hewlett was one of the best in the NFL. He is now on the IR, out at least for a month. We got a couple people back to practice this week, but do I think it makes that much of a difference? Nope, I don't. I don't think Maurice Hurst makes a huge difference coming back to practice. I don't think Mohamed Diabate at linebacker makes a huge difference. And I do not think rookie Michael Hall Jr. in his first game going to have to try to stop the tush push is going to make a big difference in his NFL debut, who's coming off a 5-game suspension. Call it what you will. He was on the commissioner's exempt list for 4 of those games. Game 5 was a technical suspension with time served. He has never taken an NFL snap in a meaningful game yet, and it's coming against Philadelphia, who's known for having one of the better offensive lines in football. So, very tough matchup for your first game. Flip side, the Eagles' defensive line has Jordan Davis. They have some talented motherfuckers on that defensive line, and the Browns' offensive line has been hot garbage all season. It is going to be a long day for the offense. We are not going to be able to establish a run game, I don't expect, because they haven't yet. Deshaun Watson is traumatized by the offensive line. He looks like a rookie quarterback. He reminds me of Tim Couch. He reminds me of David Carr. He is a guy who has talent, and got beat up so badly that he basically has PTSD. He has trauma because the offensive line's so bad. He is dancing out of the pocket when he doesn't have to because he's now just become accustomed to not having any time to throw and to getting crushed by the defensive line. So it's an overall mess. I have no reason to believe it's going to get better on Sunday, especially against Philly, especially against a team who is now bringing back A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I have zero faith in the Cleveland Browns. We are both unanimously taking the Philadelphia Eagles in a landslide. And I'm sure George's picks, you're going with the Eagles as well. I don't think there's a person with a full brain in America that watches football that would be willing to take the Cleveland Browns in this game. With that being said, this is a game the Browns are going to win because everybody's against them. That's how it's going to work out.
We took the defense for fantasy.
If I were, exactly. The Browns are going to score 40 points this week, and our defenses are going to have negative points because we picked them up. If I were a degenerate gambler, this is a game where I would bet an absurd amount of money on the Philadelphia Eagles, even if it's the money line. The money line could be minus 500. Even if you're not winning half of what you're putting up, it's still money. I would just take the free money. I'm betting Philly in every bet I do this weekend, any parlay, anything. What is it?
8.5.
That's about right. What's the money line spread? Do they have that on there?
Over under is 42.5 at 110 minus 110.
For the over under?
Yeah.
Do they have the money line on there? Just the straight up pick?
Hang on. Come on. Well, Google only gave me that much right off the
bat. Let me open up FanDuel really quick. We'll take a look. This episode is not affiliated or sponsored by FanDuel. Let's get that out of the way first. Disclaimers. Don't want to get sued.
Right, exactly. Wow. 8.5. I'm shocked.
Honestly, that seems low. I was listening to the radio.
You beat me to that point. I was going to say the same thing. Why isn't this double digits?
There was a local radio station who they said, "Oh shit!" So FanDuel has 9.5.
Oh wow!
FanDuel has it minus 9.5, and they have the Eagles money line minus 480. That's crazy. So they are. Who isn't? But they are expecting Philly to win handedly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I'm going to Philadelphia. George is going to Philadelphia. Kyle's going to Philadelphia. There's no one in the world that thinks the Browns have a fucking chance. So, Philly all around for everybody.
No chance.
That's going to do it for the pick segment this week. Thank you to George for filling in for Kyle. We are going to wrap this one up with, of course, my favorite segment, Just the Tip. This week, I have a documentary that premiered on what's it called? Paramount Plus last week. It is called Casa Bonita, Mi Amor. For those of you that don't know, Casa Bonita is a restaurant in Denver that became famous in like the 70s and 80s because it's very cheesy. It is a Mexican restaurant, and inside of it, they have like caves, they have cliff divers, they have little shows, they have actors that walk around. And it only got famous for me because South Park did a full episode on Casa Bonita. The reason they know Casa Bonita is because, of course, Matt Stone and Trey Parker are from Denver as children. They grew up there. So they both have memories of going there in the 70s and 80s as kids. They then made a South Park episode where Cartman kidnapped Butters, basically, made him think that the world was ending, hid him in a bunker, and stole his spot at the birthday dinner at Casa Bonita because he wanted to go there so badly. And I thought it was fake. I always just thought, it's funny, Casa Bonita, they're making fun of a Mexican restaurant, whatever. Turns out it's a real place. Turns out that they let it go to shit. The owners let it completely go bad. And then when COVID happened, it was about to get shut down. It was that bad. They couldn't afford to keep it. It was run down. It was a hunk of shit. So Matt Stone and Trey Parker, they're filthy rich. Let's start that off. They decided to buy it. They bought Casa Bonita. And they said, okay, let's put like $10 million into this thing. Let's fix it up. Then they had their contractors show up. Their contractors gutted the place, looked at everything, and said, hey, you know that couple million to 10 million rebuild you thought you had? Yeah, it's going to be about 40. But to them, they had the money. They said, fuck it, let's go for it. They fixed the place up. And there's a documentary on Paramount Plus that is only of Matt Stone and Trey Parker describing the years that it took to buy and fix up Casa Bonita in Denver. And I'm not kidding you, it made me want to go to Denver and try Casa Bonita right after. However, because it's now famous again, they have reservations that are months and months in advance. It's hard to get in there because of how popular it is now. So definitely on my bucket list of something I'd love to check out. A cool documentary, especially if you're a South Park fan. I love South Park. It's arguably my favorite show of all time. I love their sense of humor. So when I saw they had a documentary, I of course had to watch it, and it's close to home because it's an episode that everybody loves of South Park. They made it, that they turned into real life. They bought it and they own it, and it's still running. So check that out if you have the time. I think it was like an hour and a half. It was pretty quick. But again, if you're a South Park fan, you'll like it. So that's going to do it for this week's episode. Again, thank you to George for filling in for Kyle. We'll be back next week. I'm sure Kyle will be with us. Hopefully we have some better stuff to talk about. Health check, Philly fans. On the bright side, Philly, you'll get a huge win with your Eagles this week, and I'm sure you'll feel much better after that. With that being said, though, thank you guys for watching Cleveland sports. It's tough to be a fan right now. Normally, I end the show with Cleveland. This was for you, but I'm very pissed at this city and these sports teams right now, so I'm going to pull a Ron Burgundy. Go fuck yourself, Cleveland. See you later, everybody. Have a good one.